Most bathroom design problems don't appear in the plan, they become more obvious in the section. And if you're an interior designer or an architect, there's a good chance that you're running into one of these issues. In this video, I'll show you 5 common mistakes that designers make when drawing bathroom sections and elevations, and how you can fix them to create drawings that are clearer, quicker to produce, and easier for both contractors and clients to understand. Bathroom layouts can look great in plan, but the real issues usually appear when you get into section and elevation. This is where we verify things like fixture heights, mirror placements, shower clearances, and how all the elements actually stack and interact together in the space. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through 5 common mistakes that designers make when drawing bathroom sections and elevations, and I'll show you some practical ways to avoid them using Rayon so your drawings stay clear, coordinated, and ready to present or build from. If you'd like to follow along or test these workflows yourself, you can go ahead and try Rayon for free using the link below in the description. Let's jump into the first mistake. All right, so mistake number 1. The first common mistake when drawing bathroom sections is overlooking vertical clearances. When designers focus mainly on the plan layout, they can easily miss important vertical relationships, and this can lead to mirrors that sit too high, too low, shower heads placed incorrectly, vanities that don't feel comfortable to use. And the solution is very simple. Just always validate your designs in section view. Use the section to check any key height benchmarks like vanity height, mirror placement, faucet clearance, shower head height, and any sort of other placements inside the bathroom design. Reviewing these vertical relationships early ensure the bathroom is comfortable, functional, and built exactly as you have intended it. So this is our bathroom design here in Rayon. So I've got a little plan view, as well as an elevation and a few different section cuts for details. So let's dive in here. You can see here, the top view of this bathroom vanity design tells us next to nothing, right? We can see that this is a countertop, and then we've got like a little sink placement in here. But other than that, I really don't know what's going on. So if you move down to our elevation, this tells us a little bit more, right? So now we can see, okay, we've got a mirror, we've got our vanity countertop, which you can see is stylized, and you can see the relationship to our plan view. We've also got some little cabinets down here, some floating cabinets above the floor line. And then moving over into our section, this again tells us even more details. So we've got our mirror here, we've got, it looks like our countertop, as well as a little inset for some towels in our cabinetry section down there, and then another section through a different part of the vanity as well to show more of like the sink detail. So these obviously tell the story a little bit more, right? Because we can see that they're like where the mirror sits in elevation, where the countertop sits in elevation. And we can even add some dimensions here to kind of tell that story a little bit better. We already have some horizontal dimensions, but now that we're working in elevation, let's confirm a few of those. So I'm gonna grab my dimension tool down here, and I'm going to set it to loop because I want to add a string of dimensions vertically, because there are a couple different vertical dimensions I want to note. So I will just start by clicking my first dimension, which is going to be the mirror height, drag that out and click. Then I'm going to click the distance from the bottom of the mirror to the top of the countertop, drag that out and click. We'll do this countertop distance, drag it out and click. We'll do the cabinet height, drag that out and click. You can see why it's nice that I clicked the little loop button down there, because otherwise I would have to go click the dimension button every time that I wanted to add a dimension. And then our last dimension will just be the height of the cabinet from the ground level. So click that dimension and click. Now, I don't like to worry about the style of my dimensions when I'm going. You can see that the text is way too big. I actually already have a style set up for my dimensions, so I can easily just click on that string, grab my little pick style, and then just drop the style of dimension that I like. And then now you can see that it actually fits in nicely, and I can just adjust anything over here that I need to. Now we obviously know a little bit better about placement of items in here. You can also do an overall dimension. Additionally, you can add some of those vertical dimensions over here. So if I grab my dimension tool, make sure I'm on loop. Again, let's see here, we've already got that. Let's just do vertical dimensions right here. So we've got that, drag it out, dimension, drag it out, dimension, drag it out, hit done. And then again, I'm gonna pick my little pick style, grab the style of that. And now we have like started to confirm some of these numbers. and it's telling a little bit more of the story than our basic plan did. Now, it's important to know that standards are going to vary by project, region, and user, but benchmarks and best practices are obviously important to keep in mind as you are designing this space. Now, while we are looking at these drawings that I have in here, issue number 2 is the misalignment between drawings. So keeping all of our drawings in one space is going to help us, keeping them all in this like one canvas together is going to help us make sure that they are related to each other. Fixtures and elements like vanities, mirrors, tiles, and shower fittings can easily become inconsistent between plan sections and elevations if you don't have your drawings kind of connected to each other. Something that looks aligned in plan might suddenly, look higher or lower in elevation, which creates obvious confusion for contractors and potential mess ups in the future. The simple solution is to just work with a clear building grid and synchronize your views. By anchoring your design to reference lines for floor level, vanity height, mirror alignment, and tile lines, you ensure that everything stays perfectly coordinated across all of your drawings. So in order to do that, we are just simply going to create a new layer. Over here in our layers, we'll just hit plus layer, and we'll call this guidelines. And all we're going to do is we're just going to place a couple of guidelines. Now, obviously I already have my drawing started, but if you are drawing from scratch, this is also just helpful when you start drawing. Typically, you're going to start with your floor plan, and then you can add in guidelines to draw in your elevation, and then you can add in guidelines to draw in your sections, and then they all kind of start relating to each other. But because these are all drawn, let me show you how you can set those up. So make sure that we are in our new guidelines layer, and we are going to go down here to shapes, and we'll hit guideline. Again, I want to make sure that I'm on that loop because I want to be able to click, 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 click. We'll start with our vertical guideline. So I'm going to click the vertical button, and you can see that I have this line here. So I can just kind of start clicking on my important corners is how I kind of refer to it. So I'm going to click on either side of the vanity. So you can see that that just placed these two lines here. I'm also going to click on either side of my sink. Because those are kind of my first important lines. So now going down here, you can see, we can actually already see that our sink is a little bit misaligned. So we can adjust that while we're here. Just kind of grab that out. And now you can see that these lines, which actually I can colorize to make us see them better. You can just select those lines and change, we can change them. Since we already have text in red, let's change them to blue. And let's make them more of like a true blue. There we go. So now we can see our blue guidelines here. So that just kind of helps us connect the floor plan to the elevation. And then now connecting the elevation to the sections, we can go back in, make sure that we're still in our guidelines, and click on the guideline. We're going to keep it on loop. This time we're going to set it to horizontal, and we will just start again clicking the important corners. So I'm going to do top of the mirror, bottom of the mirror, top of the countertop, bottom countertop, bottom of cabinet, and then we'll just do the floor line too. And we'll hit done. And once we have those, again, we can just kind of grab that little pick style if we want them to be in the blue color. And now you can see that we have more information to draw or adjust our sections. So you can see here, everything's aligning. We've got the mirror height, we've got the countertop, we've got the cabinets, and then the distance from ground to cabinet as well. You might not want these on at all times, so you can easily toggle these on and off. Just make sure that the guidelines is not your current layer, so set that to something else, and then you'll see this little eyeball pop up, and you can just turn them on and off easily. This is obviously just going to keep everything aligned and more consistent. Moving on to common mistake number 3, which is using inconsistent blocks for bathroom fixtures across drawings. Now, designers often download blocks from different websites, but it's actually surprisingly hard to find matching plan, elevation, and section blocks for the same toilet, vanity, sink, or shower fixture. And as a result, the fixtures might look correct in the plan, but maybe look a little bit different in elevation or section, which does end up creating inconsistencies in the documentation, which just ultimately creates confusion for the client and the contractors. Now, the alternative is drawing every view by yourself, which quickly becomes very time-consuming and repetitive, especially in bathrooms where there's fixtures that need to be documented clearly. But the solution is easy, and it's just to use a consistent bathroom block library, which Rayon has plenty of. So with Rayon's bathroom block library, you get ready-to-use fixtures that are already included in the coordinated plan, elevation, and section views for elements like toilets, vanities, sinks, and showers, helping you keep your drawings clean, consistent, and much faster to produce. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the block library. We'll go over here and just click blocks. You can see here, if I just go to my libraries, there are categorized blocks here, galore. There's even different categories like for bathrooms, bathroom accessories, all kinds of basic blocks as well as parametric blocks. Additionally, you can generate your own blocks using the AI panel, which we'll talk about here in a second. Let me just show you how we can go ahead and source a block that we can use in floor plan, elevation, and section. So one thing that this plan is lacking is a sink faucet. So let's go ahead into our libraries and just type in faucet. What we're gonna see is a whole bunch of different sink faucets. So I'm just gonna select this first one up here that we see. And what we can see here is that we have a top view, a side view, and a front view, which is perfect because we need all three. So all I'm gonna do is just drag and drop this floor plan top view and place it right here. Now, the cool thing is too that you can always adjust the style of this later if it's looking a little bit too basic, but we will actually touch on that in the next mistake. So we'll drop that right there. Now, I might want to add in some guidelines for this as well. So let's go back to our layers, turn on our guidelines, and I'm gonna place a guideline, a vertical guideline, at either edge of the faucet. So that way I know how to place it in my elevation view. So now, even easier, go back to our blocks and back to this block that we had chosen. Now we want a front view. So I'm gonna drag and drop this front view sink faucet right here. And I can perfectly plop it in here because I already have my guidelines, right? There's no like guessing involved. That's just where it goes. And then additionally, if you needed to add in some more horizontal lines to place it, I don't think that I need to because it just sits right on top of the countertop. And then we can go ahead and grab in the side view and place that right here as well. So now those three different views that we just brought in are the exact same block, and they all actually like make sense together. So let's just copy and paste this over here as well. And that's it. Now you can also import your own blocks. You can additionally save blocks that you use frequently in Rayon to a block library, which is a whole other topic that actually there's a lot more information on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. But definitely a lot of opportunity to create your own custom block library. And again, there's just access to so many blocks in here. It is so extremely helpful. Moving on to mistake number 4, and this kind of piggybacks off of this style comment that I was just making, is another common mistake is showing clients raw technical bathroom drawings. So if we go just look at the raw import of this drawing set from CAD, while this might potentially be helpful to a contractor, a client's gonna look at this and be like, what am I looking at? This is just boxes, right? And again, like I said, these might be essential for construction, but it's really hard for clients to interpret, especially where materials like tile, stone, wood, fixture materials, metals play a really big role in the final look. Now, a simple elevation with lines and dimensions often makes the design feel flat and unfinished, which again makes it hard for the clients to visualize the space. So the simple solution here is to use styles. With Rayon's built-in style library, you can quickly access and enhance the bathroom elevations with tile textures, hatches, gradients, materials. You can also import your own custom finishes and materials to simulate the actual surfaces, which helps your clients clearly understand the design and better visualize the final bathroom. So let's go back to this fixture that I imported, and I'll show you how to simply add a style. And when I mention styles, it's basically just colorizing or materializing anything in your drawing. So like this countertop has a style applied to it. This mirror has a style applied to it. These cabinets have a style applied to it. For instance, if you wanted to, maybe we were doing like a brushed nickel look for this sink, you could easily just double click into the faucet, brushed nickel look for the faucet. You could easily double click in here, select the shapes that were made or that were created to make it. And then over here under styles, I could create like a gradient look and maybe do like a radial style gradient. And then in my colors, you know, maybe it's like medium gray to light gray. You just want to kind of give that metallic look. And then if you like that style, we can save it and we can call it brushed and hit done. And then if we want to replicate that on our other views, we can just double click in here and we can either go pick that style, or here we can search our style library and I can just click on brushed nickel and there you go. And then again, back into our section, double click in here, select, go to our styles, brushed nickel, and voila. And now they all kind of relate to each other and look a little bit more realistic. Now, the last most common mistake that I see is relying entirely on manual workflows when developing and presenting bathroom designs. Creating variations, refining layouts, and preparing visuals for clients can quickly become very time-consuming, especially when bathrooms involve many finishes like tiles, fixtures, and materials that clients want to clearly visualize. The easy solution here is to start integrating AI into your workflow. And I had mentioned the AI chat, AI panel over here earlier. This is an AI-powered tool that can help you generate quick visuals, explore design variations, and transform your bathroom drawings into clearer presentations, helping clients better understand the space while saving you significant time in the process. So over here, all we need to do if we wanted to, say, create a little 3D axonometric view of our design thus far, we can just add a little screenshot. So under the add content, just screenshot. And I usually like to take a screenshot of both the elevation and the floor plan. So it has a little bit more context, but sometimes that doesn't go as planned. So we'll just try it out. And then additionally, all you need to do is just click tools and generate axonometry. I don't even need to type in a prompt or anything. I'll just hit send. And what it's going to do is it's going to interpret that design and it will just make a little 3D axon. And then the cool part is that we can actually change the style, make it a realistic rendering super, super easily. Again, we don't even have to prompt it. It's just already got these built-in tools for us. Okay, so let's hit preview and see what it came up with. So we can see we've got our mirror and then we've got our floating vanity as well as our little brush nickel faucet. And I think it did a really good job of interpreting this. So we can just say insert image and we can utilize that in our presentation to kind of tell the story a little bit better. Now, if you want to even go a step further, we can just select this image, tell the AI to use selected image, and then under tools, we'll go to stylize and hit render, and it will generate a more realistic rendering of this image that it created. Okay, we'll hit preview, and you can see here, it basically just kind of applied some more realistic textures. You've got shadow and light. You can say insert image, and again, it's just kind of an extra tool to use if you want to explain the design a little bit further. Now, let's take a look at the presentation as a whole. So back into my presentation canvas here, this is a really simple one because this is such a small space. We really just have the top view, the elevation, as well as a little axon that it created. And then over here, a section and, you know, a little bit more of like inspiration. Now you can see we've got lots of dimensions here. So this is totally ready for a contractor to take and run with. And the nice thing about Rayon is that I actually can just copy the URL link of this presentation and send that to the client. Now you can, of course, also download traditionally the PDF or images as well, but I like to use that URL link because it's just easy to communicate. They don't need the software or anything. It just kind of opens up a URL link that they can scroll through and view the presentation. So there you have it. This presentation was created end-to-end in Rayon. And if you'd like to learn more about how to do some more of the things that I didn't hit heavy on today, you can check out our YouTube channel to learn more. So those are the 5 common bathroom elevation and section mistakes and how to fix them. Even if you implement just one of these techniques, your drawings will become clearer, more consistent, and easier for clients and contractors to understand. And if you want to speed up your entire workflow, from blocks and grids to styles and AI-powered visuals, you can try Rayon for free. Just click the link in the description below and start using it today. And if you found this tutorial helpful, make sure you like and subscribe for more interior design workflows and drawing tips. See you next time.